Ladies and gentlemen, this is the JHebert podcast production.
Yes!
We talk about the good.
I am the best on this microphone, in that ring, even in commentary.
Wrestling runs in cycles. You see they have down periods, and then they have something they call the boom periods.
The bad.
In a couple of years, we're going to be the top guys. And you won't have to worry about some of these dumb ideas that they come up with, and I was wrong.
And the ugly.
I haven't flipped out this bad since my mom canceled my subscription to Warcraft.
Then where, oh where, are my WWE ice cream bars?
Shut the hell up!
Do you know who I am? I'm Bully Ray. I'm destined for greatness.
This is where the big boys play, huh?
You were either in or you were either out, brother. You either believed or you didn't, man. And you were either ready or you weren't.
Half the pavement. We be wildin' on the corner freestyling. It's a cycle and realize it's all real. Nod your head on the regular.
Welcome to another installment of the JHebert Side of Things. Your host, once again, being JHebert. And I got a very broad topic. Reason why this is going to be very broad is because, in my opinion, this is long overdue for me. I was trying to do it, of course, on the Generation of Wrestling Scoop, but, you know, that ship has sailed for right now, and I figured I might as well just talk about it on here, on the JHebert Side of Things. And that's exactly what I plan on doing. This is about TNA. Solely. Just TNA. This is all about TNA and the stuff that is going on with that company. Where do I even begin? This is just, my God. Like the fact that there has been so many stupid decisions because of the most stupidest politics ever. Okay? Let's go with the first dumb decision that they made. Okay? Bringing in Vince Russo. Vince fucking Russo, a guy who literally killed WCW. And I mean killed it. I don't know what anybody out there was thinking in over there in the office, but the fact that Vince Russo even took control as head of creative was just stupid. It was stupid. Okay. Soon as Vince Russo came in, storylines were making no fucking sense. They were all over the damn place. And it got to the point where nobody was wondering what the hell was going on. And all they cared really about was the wrestling. So, was it really a bad thing? Not really. Due to the fact that the wrestling was great every time. Despite what the storyline was. But at the same time, the storyline should have made sense because guarantee you, if you have a better story, you will have a better match, and or a better feud, and or a better promo, and or a better product. And Vince Russo was not that guy, and the fact that TNA decided to employ him and make him, not only employ him, but make him head of creative is just ludicrous. It's fucking ludicrous. And then, let's go with dumb decision number 2. Hiring both Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff. Granted, got TNA their highest rating ever. No denying that. But for one night. For one fucking night, TNA beat Raw in the ratings because they moved over to Monday nights to see if they could compete with Raw one time. And this was just a conflict at this point. I mean, this wasn't even a contest. Okay? And here's one of the reasons why WWE went down in ratings for so long when it came to fighting WCW is that that Monday Night Raw, was held in the same location every night. It was always in that frickin' whatever their location was. And not just that, but it got so bad to the point where I remember there was a time where Raw had to move over to Thursdays. They had to, you heard me right, they had to move over to frickin' Thursdays. Thursdays. And I remember the show exactly. It was called Thursday Raw Thursday. That's what they called their frickin' show. I don't even know why they have Thursday in there twice, but they fucking do. And one of the matches that were one of those significant matches in Rock's career was when he beat Triple H when he was Hunter Hearst Helmsley for the first ever title. But I can ramble on and on about the name of what Raw was. My point is that it got so bad that to the point where they actually had to move to Thursdays because that was the best time frame that they could do because Nitro was fucking killing them in the ratings. It was fucking killing them. It wasn't even a competition. With TNA, it was like that. Granted, I think it was a great look. I thought it was a great look. So maybe that really wouldn't have all that mattered if they just had great booking and great storyline. Which was only good for like one night, and that was when Bischoff and Hogan came in. And then all three of them worked together. Hogan, Bischoff, and Russo. And they were destroying the company. They were freaking diminishing it to whatever they had left. Okay? And then let's go with dumb decision number 3. Signing basically ECW and WCW top guys that were completely irrelevant because they just couldn't hang anymore. Because they were freaking old to shit. Let me go down the list of the people that they decided to hire because they thought it'd be great for business. Okay. They decided to put Kevin Nash as a wrestler. And I mean as a wrestler. Scott Hall as a wrestler. And team him up with Eric Young and create quote-unquote the band. Then we had freaking Ric Flair? Ric Flair was there. We had freaking I can't even count. We had Mick Foley. We had again, by the way, even though he should have retired in 2009 after he fought Abyss. But he was brought back. Tommy Dreamer was brought in. Sandman was brought in. The reject jobbered like FBI, Tony Mamaluke, and freaking Little Guido were brought in. All these guys, for no freaking reason. Raven was brought back in the shape that he was in. Oh my god, he looked awful. Friggin' all these different guys. It was bad, man. It was bad. And the sad part is that all these veterans were taking away the time of really, really, like, popular athletes like AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels and Kazarian and Kurt Angle even. I mean, I go as far as to say that because WWE guys, WCW guys, and ECW guys were brought in, that the TNA originals meant absolutely fucking nothing. It meant nothing. Like Sting was getting a push, Rob Van Dam was getting a push, Mr. Anderson was getting a push, Jeff Hardy was getting a push, freaking Tommy Dreamer is even getting a push. And it's just, it's ludicrous. It's ludicrous during that time. And it got so bad with storyline. And oh my god, the storyline for this was awful. And here's where we lead into dumb decision number 4. Faction War. Faction War. The Faction War made no fucking sense in TNA, okay? Fortune was feuding with Evie 2.0. and the band would fight the freaking in some shape or capacity, and then they was going to be a fourth faction, and then all of a sudden it turned out to be an entire legion of freaking people, which included Fortune and freaking EV 2.0 and all these other different freaking people, and then it was like them versus TNA guys mixed in with WWE guys. And it was like D'Angelo De Niro was teamed up with Jay Lethal, who Rob Van Dam was teamed up, who Matt Morgan was teamed up with. And like AJ Styles was over on this other team where it was Immortal, and Immortal was also Fortune, and then Fortune was also fucking They. And they was I think a part of the band, and Jeff Jarrett was in the group, and the only good mic talker, even though AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy would have worked great as a team, Jeff Hardy was the only shining star of the entire fucking faction, besides Hulk Hogan, because he had to plaster himself all the time. It was so bad. It was so damn bad. I mean, the only good part of TNA was Jeff Hardy during that time. That was one of the best heel gimmicks of all time. Without a doubt, the Antichrist gimmick, even though it was short-lived, was probably one of the greatest TNA heel gimmicks of all time. But it was just... For what? For what? I mean... So we could get torture of Jeff Hardy basically being immortal. You might as well just put Jeff Hardy together with Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff and just make him corporate, and that can be immortal. I would have much rather that than all these guys joining this fucking one group. It was so stupid. So damn stupid. And then Bully Ray turned out to be part of that, and then all this other shit. It was just bad. It was so fucking stupid. And then let's talk about fucking... Because of Immortal, right? Let's talk about dumb decision number... I think we're on dumb decision number 6 now. They send out in No Surrender of 2010 a high-strung Jeff Hardy. A baked Jeff Hardy to compete against Sting for the World Heavyweight title, which people paid $34.95 for. And you know how long the match lasts, for anybody who didn't watch it. 1 minute and 20 seconds. A minute and 20 seconds. You hear that? Those are crickets. Like, I'm dumbfounded by that. What idiot sends a guy out who's completely high? It's common business sense to send out a fucking replacement. It's common sense. And they still put him in there anyway. I would have preferred AJ Styles again to fight Sting. Like, Sting was absolutely disappointed in Jeff. I don't blame him. And then not only that, they made this a fucking storyline. What the fuck? I mean, I get that Jeff Hardy's one to be honest about his mistakes, and I get that. And he was admitted to it on Impact. He's admitted it in WWE before many times, but did you really have to build this around as a fucking story? As if, like, oh, Jeff Hardy has to, redeem himself with the likes of Kurt Angle and AJ Styles and Kazaz and Kazarian and fucking Storm and fucking Bully Ray and fucking all these other different people. I'm thinking to myself, is this really necessary? Is this fucking necessary to do it like that? Like, I don't see any reason to do that. I don't. It's really stupid. Yet they did it anyway, and it's just ridiculous, man. It is ridiculous with that. Which leads me to dumb decision number 7. How the Bound for Glory series was run. And I'm talking about the first one in 2011. Yes, Bobby Roode won it, and Bobby Roode ended up becoming the longest reigning World Heavyweight Champion in history. Without a doubt. But why was there a point to even have this? The simple fact is, you could have had just Bobby Roode winning #1 contendership against somebody credible. Or have him fight Storm, and that's how he earns the #1 contendership. And basically have him fight AJ Styles or whatever for the #1 contendership, or I don't know, Kurt Angle or Jeff Hardy for the #1 contendership, instead of putting us through this stupid ass torture. This is the first Bound for Glory series. Let's go over who was in this stupid thing, okay? Crimson, who freaking sucks, is awful. I'd even go as far as to say he's worse than Ryback. He's that bad. He can't even do a roll up without freaking rolling on top of the referee. That if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch the match with Devon in 2012. It was I think 2 weeks after Slammiversary was over. That was his last TV appearance until 2013, which was stupid by fucking D'Lo. Who else was in this? Scott Steiner. My God, Scott Steiner with his stupid heart tattoo. Just Jesus Christ, man. I think I don't even remember that Bound for Glory series, but I'm pretty sure if there were credible guys like AJ Styles in there, and there were credible guys like Kaz in there, or Daniels, or maybe a couple more, I'm pretty sure they were outshined by Crimson and Scott Steiner, and the only one that really deserved to win that was Bobby Roode, and I'm pretty sure Bobby Roode ended up beating Scott Steiner. Although Bully Ray was in it, so it wasn't that bad. I think it might have ended up being Bully Ray, but even so, it's just, oh my God, man, this is awful. It was awful. Putting Crimson and Scott Steiner in anything during that time period was stupid. And then the Garrett Bischoff Savior storyline is, I think we're on that number 8 now. I'm not even gonna get into that. It's stupid. Let's just say that. This is the time where I stopped watching TNA, but I was looking at video clips and it was just bad. Then we're into the Aces and Eights. This is dumb decision number 9. And it's not that this idea was a bad idea. It was a good idea. It was how it was run. It was how it was booked. This storyline was dragged out to the point where absolutely nobody cared. Nobody cared who was a part of the group. Nobody cared if it was freaking Crocodile Dundee in that freaking mask. It was pointless. It was pointless to have this storyline in 7-8 months in, because they dragged it on for that long. And then we find out finally who members are, and it turns out to be some of them are Garrett Bischoff, Wes Briscoe, Devon. Devon's a part of it, and he was almost a self-proclaimed leader, which, by the way, if you remember, he was supposed to be the leader. TNA had to change their plans at last second, again, because nobody wanted that to happen. D'Lo Brown. Nux. Okay, here's the problem. The only two guys that were unmasked and a member who joined that was actually credible were Anderson and Nux. Okay, and then or no, I'm not Nux, I'm sorry, Doc, or should I say Luke Gallows, which is his real name. Yes, that's CM Punk's best buddy right there. It's bad. It is bad, and you know, it just got bad with that. It just kept getting worse, and then Taz ended up being a member of the Aces and Eights, and all he does is run his mouth on how great the group is, and he attacks Bully Ray, and he was about to marry Brooke Hogan. Oh my God, that awful freaking segment right there. He's marrying Brooke. And Hulk Hogan's treating him like his son-in-law, and then, like, you know, he's going into Bound for Glory against Jeff Hardy. And it's for the World Heavyweight title, and Jeff Hardy's a world champion at the time, when it should have been Austin Aries in the end, but, you know, his comeback story, or even James Storm. But they're just like, nope, we gotta go with Jeff Hardy, he's our biggest star, blah, blah, blah. You know, but the bottom line is, it's just like, they've dragged this thing on for way too long. And then it turns out Bully Ray is the leader. Bully Ray, the almighty master manipulator, manipulated this entire plan, even though he was getting his ass beat by the Aces and Eights. That just goes to show you the freaking long-term planning of TNA. You know, with the way that was booked, there was no way that was in the long-term plans for TNA to even have this. And this is just Bischoff's way of saying, hey, I want to form another NWO, but with bikers. That's right, bikers. From Sons of Anarchy ripoffs. And then Bully Ray is great. It's a great promo work for Bully Ray when he was the leader of Aces and Eights. Do not get me wrong. I think it's some of his best work of TNA in the last couple of years, but there was no point in this. I mean, this was not a credible group. If you were to strip away all but 3 members of the group, and there were only 3 members of the Aces and Eights, it should have been Doc, Anderson, and Bully Ray. That's the only way you can make it credible. Briscoe sucks. Bischoff sucks. Freaking Nux sucks. Friggin' D'Lo has never had it. It's just, it was a colossal disaster. Devon lost it a long time ago. We already found out that Bully Ray's better than Devon. It's just a proven fact. Especially at that age. I mean, Bully Ray could do more stuff at his age than Devon could right now. And the reason why is because Devon put himself through more punishment than Devon ever did. Or than Bully Ray ever did. And it's just, there's no need for it. There was no need for it to drag on for this long. And it dragged on literally for 18 months. And it finally ends with all their cuts being stripped by a traitor, that being Mr. Anderson. And then Mr. Anderson hits a mic check. And then that's how the group ends. And then Taz takes off his damn cut and gives it to Kurt Angle with a group of his friends. And then it's finally the dreaded storyline's over. And then we get a coffee Bully Ray. Oh, God, let's not even get into that. And now here's where we get bad. Because now we're at dumbass decision number 10, I think. The release of a highly red-hot, rocket up the ass AJ Styles. The cornerstone of TNA. will not sign a new deal because TNA was lowballing him and tried to give him half of his pay. Pretty sure if he's the face of your company, you don't lowball him. I'm pretty sure you give him what he demands, considering he's been with you for, I don't know, 11 fucking years. Or 10 and a half years. Just saying. Just saying, like, that's kind of mandatory that you freaking do that. You know, it's just what I'm saying. And yet they don't want to sign a new deal. And yet these guys, and this redhead, I forget what his name is, he was on Tough Enough, who's a booker of TNA, has the balls to say that they offered Styles a fair deal, when that is far from the case. From what I heard, he was about to receive half of his pay cut. And on term, he wasn't even happy with the direction of what the company was going in. Like, Samoa Joe and AJ Styles, and you heard it in the intro, were supposed to be the top stars of the company, and AJ was wrong. He was dead wrong. And it was bullshit. He was a company man for what? So he can receive half his pay cut because they blew all their money on Hulk Hogan? They blew all their money on frickin' Eric Bischoff? And Vince Russo when they did nothing to frickin' help the company? And Brooke Hogan, who was just there for show for the knockouts? Which, by the way, she had nothing to do with all that promotional item shit. Like, oh yeah, she had a lot to do with that promotional item stuff. No, she didn't. No, the TNA board of directors had everything to do with that. And I'm surprised they were even able to do that successfully. That had nothing to do with Brooke Hogan. She was just there for show to take all the credit, basically. You know, AJ Styles should have been paid. And then they don't give Jarrett the company. Here's dumbass decision number 11. They don't give Jeff Jarrett full control. And what did he end up doing? He split. As soon as they're like, nope. Not happening with you. So he left. And then Styles left soon after. And then who's the next to go? Kaz and Daniels. Austin Aries is probably on his way on there. And then when you hear about Sting leaving also because of fucking Magnus of all people, and now, you know, and then you're hearing Kurt Angle is talking about taking his leave. I mean, it's just a mess right now. It is an absolute mess, and has been a mess since 2010. I mean, this company is no longer the company that it used to be. This is not TNA. And Frankie Kazarian put it really simply in an interview, and I think he's right. He said, specifically, I don't feel like I was working for TNA anymore. I feel like I was working for an entirely different company. This isn't the same company that I used to work for. So, you know, I took my leave. I felt like I was working for a cheap company. Even though I've been with the company for 10 years. And you know, it's sad. And now we're hearing that they ruined the entire Nux storyline that was supposed to happen. Now he's a freaking circus clown. I think he's freaking Crazy Steve or some shit. And now I'm hearing, you know, freaking the Wolves won the tag team titles from the Bromance finally. Hallelujah freaking Luya. I don't even know what that was all about. Now I'm hearing Black or Niggalution is on their way in there, you know, with Kenny King and Bobby Lashley and MVP as a freaking faction, and I guess they're feuding with Eric Young, which makes no freaking sense to me. Absolutely no sense. And now Dixie Carter's apparently face again. I don't know what the hell's going on. And Austin Aries, I guess, is now going to finally be back in the fray, and she's going to be, like, and Dixie's going to be, Austin Aries' pet, to, gain back control so, they can fix everything, and she's totally going to fix everything. And if MVP can't in storyline, why would Dixie Carter ever? And there really is no logic to any storylines, to even why the company even exists. And now they want to go to where, as Kevin Nash would say, even though I freaking hate him, to where the big boys used to play. They're going to the the Grand Ballroom, next to the Enterstein Ballroom, which, by the way, Ring of Honor had a little show there. And they did freaking fantastic. And now they're going to Impact. Here's the whole thing with New York. If you produce a good show, you will get mauled, but you'll also get loved. With TNA, they are not loved. They are not even liked. They are not even tolerated. They are absolutely, positively hated there. And you guys want to bring your company to New York City in the Grand Ballroom to have your shows. You see, they are waiting to destroy you, and you're going to need to edit every footage that you are going to have, because Eric Young is going to have food thrown at him, everything. And your company is going to be destroyed by these fans, because your company at this point isn't destroyed enough. I mean, physically there's probably going to be damages to it where you're probably not going to recover from, because you say that you have all this financial backup when really you don't. You don't. And now I'm hearing Samoa Joe is leaving. Samoa Joe, of all people, is leaving. He's probably going back to Ring of Honor, if anything. If not that, then Global Force Wrestling. I'm hearing Austin Aries, even though he's going to be in a freaking storyline in TNA. Was rumors of him talking to Jared to join GFW. I mean, TNA is just going down the shit tubes. And that's it. Dixie Carter said that that Hulk Hogan was the rocket fuel that TNA needed. No. Hulk Hogan was the rocket fuel that ran out of gas. Basically, is what happened. Because ever since, after that one episode of Impact where TNA got their highest rating in years, or of all time, actually, they dropped the ball ever since. Every fucking time. And that's it. And that's it. And they do it on purpose while they take my money. Well, I'll be happy as a fan of WWE, where, yeah, WWE has its issues, but they also have the WWE Network. So if I didn't like something, I could watch something else. It's that freaking simple. TNA doesn't have that, because TNA will never have that, because TNA has screwed up so many times that the chances of that are slim to none not happening. And chances are slim to none of it happening is of TNA going out of business. TNA will be going out of business, mark my words, in the next year. And it will start when they go into the Grand Ballroom. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. And hell, even if they have all this money from Panda Energy, when Spike says, fuck you, you ain't got shit for a show. I don't know if you know that, Dixie, about the wrestling business, but that happened to Eric Bischoff with Nitro. And look what happened to that. It had to be purchased by WWE. That's where your company's heading right now. And at this point, I don't have any hope for them. Do I want to see anybody unemployed? Absolutely not. I think it would be sad. I think it would be a sad day. Do I think they'll end up being employed? Probably not. I think they'll probably find somewhere in the indie work, or hell, even go to WWE, some of them. But no way in hell do I want TNA to exist at this point. I don't even want to see it on my TV screen. I talk about it, and I'm probably going to be like one of the last times I talk about it, because TNA is just awful. TNA awful. Total non-stop awfulness. That's all TNA stands for. It used to be action. It's just awful now. There is no more action. They haven't had a good match in God knows how long. And it's sad. It is a sad day if you're a TNA fan. And that has been another installment of the JHebert Side of Things. And I'm going to leave you off with this is just my opinion.